Routers are not at all secured by default. Not in such condition where you have to deal with the web servers, the DNS servers, DHCP servers, the demilitarized zones where all these servers are available, including email servers, which is using SMTP protocol, POP protocol, which are one of the most vulnerable protocols out there. And of course, you can also include the switches network where multiple attacks are available by default. You means anybody can perform from inside the network, from outside the network. Oh, so many problems. So guys, that's why in this video we are going to cover about the management plane. Means how you can make secure your management plane to work much better on the router iOS. My name is Harsh Jangra, and in this video we are going to talk about and of course learn that how you can protect your router by implementing management plane security and of course with local database. Right now here we are talking about the local database. That means we are going to use the router's database itself. We are not going to use any of the dedicated database servers where we have SQL servers, we have Oracle or something like that. We just have a normal router. How you can use a router to mitigate at least from these all small attacks. तो जैसा कि आप जानते हैं गाइस कि आपने सिस्को राउटिंग एंड स्विचिंग में भी सीखा होगा कि जैसे ही आपको कोई सिक्योरिटी के बारे में ओवरव्यू देता है, दे ऑलवेज टॉक अबाउट द वेरी फर्स्ट थिंग जो कि है इनेबल सीक्रेट. वो आपको हमेशा बोलता है कि इफ यू वांट टू प्ले अराउंड विद द सिक्योरिटी ऑन द राउटर iOS, द वेरी फर्स्ट थिंग यू हैव टू थिंक अबाउट द प्रिविलेज मोड, from where user will get the access and will configure multiple things on the routers. So definitely the network administrators won't allow anybody to get access privilege mode by default. And that's why they allow you to enable the secret password, which will encrypt your password, whatever you type out there. Not only that, if you want much better security, and of course, if you think about the authentication and the authorization methods, the username are the most important thing in the router configuration. Because you know that if you have configured a router in your network, the different network administrations have different, or you can say the multiple roles. So according to their roles, you have to assign some kind of authentication methods. Means this particular user not about to access this particular interface or this particular router. I guess आपके साथ ऐसे सिचुएशन होती होंगी. तो कैसे आप यूजर नेम पासवर्ड्स को यूज करके आप उसे एक काइंड ऑफ टेक टू द नेक्स्ट लेवल, आप कैसे राउटर को बेटर कर सकते हैं, वी विल टॉक इन दिस पर्टिकुलर वीडियो. After that, we will also talk about the privilege level, which is very important for the router. Why? Because by default, जैसा कि आप जानते हैं, जब भी आप राउटर स्टार्ट करते हैं और सबसे पहली कमांड जो हम टाइप करते हैं वो टाइप करते हैं इनेबल कमांड. वो इनेबल कमांड हमें फ्रॉम यूजर मोड टू प्रिविलेज मोड में लेके जाती है. एंड बाय डिफॉल्ट हमारे पास प्रिविलेज मोड में बहुत सारी कमांड्स होती हैं दैट विल डेफिनेटली रिलेटेड टू द मैनेजमेंट ऑफ द राउटर. And certainly you don't want to allow any of the unauthorized user to access these all commands. And that's why the routers iOS have a features called custom privilege levels. And we will talk about this here as well. We will also talk about multiple methods to lock down your routers. We will talk about that. And the very first thing we will talk in the lockdown access method, which is based on the AAA model. The AAA model means authentication, authorization, and of course accounting. If you combine these all three things together, it allows us to make your routers even much better for security perspective. Not only that, आपकी जो security का जो level है वो automatically increase हो जाता है. कैसे? बिकॉज बाय डिफॉल्ट जो भी हमें कस्टम लेवल्स अवेलेबल हैं या प्रिविलेज लेवल अवेलेबल हैं, आप उनमें चेंजेस कर सकते हैं एज पर योर रिक्वायरमेंट. सो यू डोंट नीड टू डिपेंड ऑन बाय डिफॉल्ट राउटर iOS फंक्शनैलिटी. And that's what we are going to learn and discuss in management plane here if you worry about the security for your organization. So guys, let's jump into our topology and try to understand first what I have configured there, and then later we will do the practical related to that. So in this case, I just create a small topology for you in which I have one firewall, one router, and one local host connected directly with the router interface. And I also have some servers working in my DMZ network, which is also connected with one of the interface of the router. बिकॉज यहाँ पर मैंने आपके सामने तीनों कंडीशंस ली हैं, आपके साथ फायरवॉल भी है आपकी कंपनी में, आपके साथ इंटरनेट भी कनेक्टेड है, आपका डीएमजी नेटवर्क भी चल रहा है जहां पर हमारे सर्वर्स हैं, हमारा उसके साथ साथ एक नॉर्मल होस्ट जो नॉर्मल यूजर्स आपकी कंपनी में काम कर रहे हैं वो भी है. तो कैसे आप मिटिगेट करेंगे? और द वेरी फर्स्ट स्टेप ऑलवेज स्टार्ट्स फ्रॉम द बेसिक्स. यू नो दैट जब भी आप कोई भी सिक्योरिटी इंप्लीमेंट करते हैं तो पहली चीज उसके बेसिक्स स्ट्रॉन्ग होने चाहिए, एंड दैट्स व्हाट एग्जैक्टली वी आर गोइंग टू फोकस इन दिस वीडियो. So let's jump into our router and try to understand that how this all things work by default. So guys, जैसा कि आप जानते हैं कि यहाँ पर मेरे पास एक राउटर अवेलेबल है, and let me show you the interfaces जो मेरे पास यहाँ पर interfaces अवेलेबल हैं. So you can check it by show IP interface brief, जो आपको एक स्मॉल आइडिया देता है कि कितने इंटरफेसेस हैं और क्या आईपी एड्रेस है, कौन सा मेथड यूज किया है आईपी एड्रेस को देने के लिए, और उसका स्टेटस क्या है और प्रोटोकॉल्स का स्टेटस क्या है. ऑल्सो यू कैन चेक इट बाय दिस कमांड. इफ यू वांट टू जस्ट नो दैट ओनली टेल मी द इंटरफेसेस दोज आर कनेक्टेड और एक्टिव and have properly working. So you can also type the command using pipeline, because ये कभी कभी आपके सामने अवेलेबल होती है और मतलब इंपॉर्टेंट रहती है, बिकॉज जैसा कि आप कंपनी में जाते हैं तो वहां पर बहुत सारे इंटरफेसेस कनेक्टेड हैं, तो यू डोंट नीड टू केयर अबाउट द डिसकनेक्टेड और यू कैन से द अनअवेलेबल इंटरफेसेस. यू ओनली नीड टू फोकस ऑन द कनेक्टेड इंटरफेसेस. सो दिस इज द कमांड हेल्प्स यू टू फाइंड दैट ओनली द कनेक्टेड इंटरफेसेस ऑफ योर राउटर. तो जैसा कि आप देख रहे हैं कि मेरे पास यहाँ पर तीन पर्टिकुलर इंटरफेसेस हैं, तीनों कनेक्टेड हैं. उनमें से एक हमारा DHCP से आईपी एड्रेस लिया गया है, बिकॉज इन माई DMZ आई हैव कॉन्फ़िगर्ड DHCP सर्वर फॉर इंटरनेट कनेक्टिविटी. तो जैसा कि ये यहाँ पर पहली चीज हमने चेक किया, द सेकेंड इंपॉर्टेंट थिंग यू हैव टू ऑलवेज चेक दैट इफ यू वांट टू गो इनसाइड द प्रिविलेज मोड, आप हमेशा इनेबल कमांड यूज करते हैं. तो लेट मी शो यू. इफ आई गो डिसेबल, ओ आई एम सॉरी, I always forget S here. तो डिसेबल करते हम आपके प्रिविलेज मोड से बाहर आते हैं, और अगर हमें प्रिविलेज मोड में दोबारा जाना है, सो वी ओनली यूज इनेबल कमांड हियर. व्हेन यू प्रेस एंटर, you all have the access of the privilege level, and not only that guys, you have the full access of the privilege mode. This is my question to you. Is it really good to provide the full access to any user? Now let's say I am just the VoIP administrator and I only need to care about my VoIP connectivity and the configuration. I don't need to care about the routing concept, because that will be taken care by the routing administrator, or you can say the network administrator. उसको कोई लेना देना नहीं है. तो वहां पर क्या आपके लिए जरूरी है कि आप उसे राउटिंग कॉन्फ़िगरेशंस या फिर राउटिंग से रिलेटेड कमांड्स प्रोवाइड करवाएं? According to me, or according to the security perspective, not at all. It is not a good idea to do that. So how you can make secure? Let me show you first important thing in the router. When you type question mark after the enable command, तो वहां पर सबसे पहली चीज आपको बोलेगा use level from 0 to 15. गाइस, हमारे राउटर में टोटल 15 लेवल होते हैं, और अगर आपके पास 15 लेवल की प्रिविलेज और यू कैन से द परमिशन है, तो उसका मतलब ये है कि यू हैव द कंप्लीट एंड द फुल परमिशन टू डू एनीथिंग ऑन द राउटर. सो दैट्स व्हाई वी आर गोइंग टू प्ले अराउंड विद द कस्टम प्रिविलेज मोड. नाउ व्हाट डज इट मीन? मेरा मतलब यह है कि अगर मैं यहां पर इनेबल एंड उसके बाद मैं 4 या 5 या 6 टाइप करता हूं, या 4, 5, 6 टाइप करता हूं, देन व्हाट विल हैपन? Guys, यहाँ पर you can assign the limited number of the command can be used by a particular user. Let's say मेरा एक यूजर है यूजर 01. यूजर 01 जस्ट हैव द परमिशन टू चेक द कनेक्टिविटी. उसके सिवा उसको कोई काम नहीं है या उसके कोई रिस्पॉन्सिबिलिटी नहीं है. सो there is no use to provide multiple other commands to that particular user. So what I'm going to do, I'm going to configure the custom privilege mode for that user as a level number 4, and उसमें सिर्फ और सिर्फ मैं ping command की उसमें मैं परमिशन दूंगा ताकि अगर वो यूजर लॉग इन करता है उसके अंदर तो उसको सिर्फ ping command मिले, उसके अलावा नहीं. इसका मतलब ये है. हम इस वीडियो में करेंगे कि हाउ यू कैन डू दैट, बट बिफोर दैट यू शुड नो वन थिंग, दैट हाउ यू कैन कॉन्फ़िगर दिस ऑल थिंग्स, एंड यू वांट टू कॉन्फ़िगर दैट ऑल, definitely you required full permission for that. So the first thing, let me show you if you are in user mode by default, so what kind of permission you have और कौन से level में आप by default होते हैं. Guys, as you can see, you are in privilege level number 1 by default in user mode. That means you don't have much configuration commands, or you are not allowed to perform such commands, especially for the network administration. तो उसके बाद जब आप टाइप करते हैं enable, जैसे कि हम यूजुअली करते ही हैं, when you press enter and now here you type show privilege, press enter, तो यहां पर आप देख सकते हैं कि by default जो राउटर आपको परमिशन देता है वो देता है 15 का. That means you have all the command permissions, all sort of things available. You can perform any task on the router anytime. That is the main thing. Second thing, जैसा कि आप जानते हैं कि if you learn Cisco routing and switches, तो वहां पर जो भी आपके trainers या whoever teach you there, he definitely talk about the security out there. Means if you want to go inside the privilege mode, the router should ask you a password, and you know that if you want to enable a password, you have to go to configure terminal command, which allows you to go to global configuration mode, जहां पर हर type की configurations available हैं, including management, including configuration, routing protocols, security. आप हर चीज इस particular mode में कर सकते हैं. So now let's say I want to apply the security. So जैसा कि आप जानते हैं कि by default मैं use कर सकता हूं enable password command, but it is not a good option here because routing and switching में ये आपने की होगी, and you know that very well that enable password command is not a good option. Why? Because it will not allows to save your password into encrypted form. So that's why अगर आपको security increase करनी है, so we always have to use enable secret command instead of enable password. उसके बाद आपको करना क्या है, कौन से लेवल पे परमिशन लगानी है, because as in CCNA-Security point of view, it is very important for you that how you can use these all commands to get better results. तो यहाँ पर मैं आपके लिए वही शो कर रहा हूँ. अगर मैं यहां पर 0 टाइप करता हूं, इसका मतलब है कि मैं प्लेन टेक्स्ट में अपने पासवर्ड लिख सकता हूं, जैसे कि मैं यहां पर लिख रहा हूं Cisco 123 प्रेस एंटर, पासवर्ड अप्लाइड. लेकिन अगर मान लीजिए कि मुझे ये चेक करना है कि जो भी मैंने ये पासवर्ड लगाया है क्या वो एनक्रिप्टेड हुआ है या नहीं, सो यू कैन ऑल्सो फाइंड आउट बाय जस्ट टाइपिंग डू शो रन इन ग्लोबल कॉन्फ़िगरेशन मोड, प्रेस एंटर, एंड यहां पर आप देखेंगे कि एक लंबा सा कुछ इंफॉर्मेशन अवेलेबल है. दैट मीन्स वो ऑटोमेटिकली आपका पासवर्ड है. वो कौन सा पासवर्ड है, वो ये पासवर्ड है जो Cisco 123 यहां पर लिखा हुआ है, जो एनक्रिप्टेड फॉर्म में कन्वर्ट हो गया है. कुछ लोगों को आदत होती है, स्पेशली द सिस्टम एडमिनिस्ट्रेटर, दे डोंट वांट टू शेयर विद यू द प्लेन टेक्स्ट password because उनको लगता है कि somebody is sitting nearby them and they don't want to share any of the password. So what generally they like to use, they like to type here 5. 5 means encrypted, or the hash methods used for typing the password. So you can do that. I am just going to do it here. Like I type here. Oh, I'm sorry. So मैं यहाँ पर ये जो आप देख रहे हैं, एक्चुअली मैं यहाँ पर लिख नहीं पा रहा हूँ. आई एम सॉरी, आई एम नॉट अबाउट टू कॉपी दैट, बट आई होप यू अंडरस्टैंड माई पॉइंट. अगर आप ये पूरा कंप्लीट कॉपी करके यहाँ पर लिख देते हैं तो ऑटोमेटिकली होगा क्या, ऑटोमेटिकली ये होगा कि वो आपका पासवर्ड एक्सेप्ट कर लेगा विद इन द सेम फॉर्म. Isn't it good? Because वो आपको आपका encrypted पासवर्ड है, जैसे कि आपके पास कुछ टूल्स अवेलेबल हैं, यू जस्ट टाइप एनी कॉम्प्लेक्स पासवर्ड एंड आपको एक encrypted फॉर्म में कोई पासवर्ड मिला, यू कैन डायरेक्टली टाइप दैट, so it will accept it. You just make kind of, you can make your communication, or you can say the management, even more secure, because you don't want to share that stuff with anyone else. ये तो था पहली चीज. Now second thing, now just imagine I want to secure my custom, or you can say the privilege level number 4. So what you have to type, just type the same thing, only you have to just type level number 4. एंड उसके बाद आपको जो भी टाइप करना है, बिकॉज मैं प्लेन टेक्स्ट ही यूज कर रहा हूं, तो यहां पर पास लेवल 4 ये मेरा पासवर्ड है, प्रेस एंटर. तो ये ऑटोमेटिकली पासवर्ड इनेबल हो गया है मेरे जो मेरा कस्टम लेवल है प्रिविलेज नंबर 4 पे. एंड नॉट ओनली दैट गाइज, इफ यू वांट टू अलाउ ओनली सेलेक्टेड कमांड, बिकॉज बाय डिफॉल्ट कोई कमांड इनेबल अवेलेबल नहीं है हमारे कस्टम प्रिविलेज लेवल नंबर 4 में, तो आप कैसे उसे कर सकते हैं? तो यू कैन जस्ट टाइप privilege exec level 4, बिकॉज यहां पर आपको जिस लेवल पे अप्लाई करना है यू कैन टाइप, एंड ऑफ कोर्स यू कैन टाइप द कमांड्स. तो यहां पर मैं कमांड ओनली अलाउ करना चाहता हूं, पिंकी, प्रेस एंटर, द कमांड अलाउड. You can also add multiple command as well, just you need to type question mark after that and you can find कि कौन कौन सी commands आप करना चाहते हैं, show command add करना चाहते हैं या नहीं, या कौन सी चीज है, तो you can add that. And if you want to check it that is it working properly or not, so you can do it, just go to disable, I mean better go back and disable. They should do it properly. Okay, if you type enable 4 here, press enter, it will ask you the password. The password क्या है मेरा यहाँ पर? Pass level 4. Type the same one, pass level 4. Press enter. I am inside the router. Now let's check with the show privilege command. मैं कौन से लेवल में हूँ? Right now you can see I am in 4 level. So what kind of commands I have? You can see I have multiple commands that you can control by the AAA model. We are going to do that. But if you want to just type the ping command, it will ask you the IP address and all that, and you can access anything you want. We will do it in detail in upcoming steps. Now let's go back to, let me disable here and let me go back to enable, because यहाँ पर मैं कुछ चीजें करना चाहता हूँ. Oh, what is my enable password? My enable password is Cisco123. It is kind of secured right now. That's great. Now guys, ठीक है, आपने ये चीज secure कर लिया. The other stuff is also available to secure. That is your line console mode, auxiliary port, or also you can say the Telnet port, that is line VTY port. Because आप जानते हैं कि whenever you talk about security, you have to deal with all kind of access, or the means you can say the physical connectivity to the router. और वहां पर आपको बहुत इंपॉर्टेंट चीज याद रखनी होती है कि whatever the possible ways to connect with the router, you have to make them secure. Means all I'm talking about हर चीज का. So how you can secure it? Of course, it is the old way to do it. You just need to type the console 0. मैं काफी दिनों से Microsoft पे काम कर रहा हूँ, then it is very difficult to just type quite fast on the router. So just press enter here, and उसके बाद आप टाइप करते हैं the password. तो password आपको जो भी टाइप करना, just like my pass console. That's it. Pass console is better one. So I just type the password. Then of course after that login. Login allowed to just apply the security. Then after that you can also secure your auxiliary port. That is AUX 0. The password, pass AUX, done, login. And I can understand guys, this is the same way you can secure in your router, I mean the routing and switching technology as well, जो कि आपने CCNA में सीखी थी by default. I know that very well. लेकिन फिर भी still you can use it, and then pass VTY, login. That's great. So हमने यहाँ पर ये चीज secure कर ली है, and we are just kind of confirm that everything is secure here. But let me show you one thing. If you just type show run, मैं यहाँ पर show run में आपके सामने जितने भी मैंने command type की है मैं आपके सामने show करना चाहता हूँ. That is with including all kind of password here. When you press enter, तो यहां पर देख सकते हैं कि जो भी मैंने अभी रिसेंटली पासवर्ड अप्लाई किए थे फॉर कंसोल पोर्ट, फॉर ऑक्सिलरी पोर्ट और द VTY पोर्ट, वो आप देख सकते हैं. And you can see directly these password in the plain text, which is not good option for anybody. So what you can do here, you can enable kind of security so that nobody can find out or nobody can see these password in the plain text. And I guess you remember this command already. The password is service password dash encryption command. When you press enter and you just type again the same command, and you can find the difference immediately. At least it is not that much secure, but for the general point of view, you can find out that at least पहले आप plain text में देख पा रहे थे, लेकिन अब ये आप देख नहीं पा रहे हैं यहाँ पर, right? So this is kind of the service password encryption, which will convert your passwords into encrypted form automatically if you applied your password on any of the configuration part. Now let's try to connect with the Telnet, because I want to show you if somebody get the Telnet connection. Let me type with the 10.0.0.0.1. That is my interface IP address. And what is the password for that? The password VTY, press enter. We are inside. Now let me check that who log in with this particular thing. So you can just type who command. It will show you that how many people are connected with this particular कंसोल पोर्ट. तो जैसा कि आप देख रहे हैं, एक तो बाय डिफॉल्ट है जो हमारे कंसोल पोर्ट पे कनेक्टेड है, दैट इज 10.0.0.1. एंड उसके साथ साथ हमारे पास सेकंड कनेक्शन है, दैट इज आइडल कंडीशन, बिकॉज जस्ट रिसेंटली वी कनेक्टेड बाय दिस पर्टिकुलर आईपी. बट गाइस, हैव यू सीन वन थिंग कि यहां पर आप ये चीज नहीं चेक कर पा रहे हैं कि कौन सा पर्सन लॉग इन है, किसने क्या किया, आई मीन कौन सा यूजर इस टाइम पे क्या कर रहा है. यू कैन नॉट फाइंड आउट. सो दैट इज वाई our username works. Yes, we got to know that how to enable a secret password, but next step is to create the usernames and then working with the usernames for better management. Usernames always help the administrator to find out that who is connected with the router, especially when the people are trying to connect from the remote connections. So that is why the best way to manage your management is to create the usernames and assign the privilege level to them, so that according to that they can log in, and you can also check it कि कौन सा user इस time पे log in है, and you also check your local database to find out that who was logged in at what time. So let's do it now, that how you can create the users on your router and then how you can use them for better management. Because just now you saw कि जैसे मैंने login करने का कोशिश किया, it will not show us any of the user information because we have not even created a user yet, and we do not even assign what kind of privileged permissions that particular user have. So right now, before to apply the privilege level permission, better we should know that how to create the user, and उसके साथ साथ how you can provide the privilege level permission or kind of access to that particular user. The command is very simple and important. Just need to type username, and I'm going to use the username now here as an admin, which is very common in any organization. Then of course the privilege level. What are the privilege level you want to apply to this admin? I'm going to apply privilege level number 15. Then secret, of course, for the plain text, because I want to convert this password into encrypted form. But right now I want to type my password into plain text. That's why I use 0 here. So I type Cisco123, just a simple password, press enter, done. With the same way, you also can create another user, which is called user1, and you can assign the privilege level for 4. I mean, you just want to assign the privilege 4 to this particular user to access, and secret, then 0, you can type user1 pass as a password. So when you press enter, guys, the next step I always like to do, I have to assign the local database to all kind of console, auxiliary and line VTY modes. Why? Because for me it is very important. So let me go to console port first. Then after that I will explain you. If I type local here, because guys जैसा कि आप देख रहे हैं कि यहाँ पर मैंने दो यूजर बनाए हैं, and for your information these both the users I just have created on the router. मेरे पास यहाँ पर कोई भी centralized access नहीं है यूजर का. Actually if you want you can use active directory for that, but you have to enable LDAP protocol. You can also use configured with the LDAP protocol. You can connect with the Linux centralized user management and sort of thing. Means there are multiple ways to do that. And not only that, the Cisco also provide you the access that is called Cisco ACS 4.2. It is a kind of servers which can be accessed by web console. You can create multiple user, you can enable security. That is quite high level, but just want to give you the idea about that particular part. But right now just need to worry about that. We are going to give the local database information. That means, hey, if somebody is trying to connect with the console port, he will speak, hey, please check with the local database. This user is there. And if this user is there, what kind of privilege level this particular user have. तो जैसा कि आप देख रहे हैं कि यहाँ पर मैंने लाइन कंसोल को 0 को दिया, और same thing you can also enable for Telnet or SSH. You just need to type login local command here. Automatically for the Telnet or SSH sessions को भी ये automatically cross verify करेगा उनके username और उनके password के लिए आपके routers के local database को. And same thing you can also configure for AUX as well. Just need to type login local. Once it is typed, it's almost done. Now if you want to check that somebody is trying to connect or not, so I'm going to check with the same telnet command, because जैसा कि आपने अभी देखा था कि मैंने ये command type किया telnet, तो automatically he directly asked me a password. तो यहाँ पर जब मैं press enter करूँगा, it will first ask me the username. So I type just admin, then the password of the admin is this, and we are inside. Now if you type who, you can easily check that what particular user is login right now, who is admin, what time he log in, how much time he was using the router management console or anything. And also you can verify with the same command called show users. If you type the same kind of information, the show users commands also show you here. So guys, that's just what about we just discussed about that, what just the usernames. Now we will talk about the very important part, the AAA. And the AAA means the authentication, authorization, and the accounting. Now before to start with the AAA in the deep, I want to share with you one of the very important thing. Just now we have implemented security, or you can say enable the password on console port, auxiliary port, and our line VTY port. Am I right? What do you think? Is it really secure? Because I want to tell you guys, on our router, whatever the password is saved on the router, it is using MD5 hash to provide encryption, or you can say the method it used to encrypt the password, which is nowadays is not that much secure. Yeah, it is secure for the general point of view, but if you're trying to talk about the high level security part, so it is not at all secure. So what are the best way you can make it even much better in that situation? And that's what is AAA for us. The AAA means the authentication, authorization, and accounting. So let me tell you one by one and give you a small idea about what does it mean. And after that, we will start implementing AAA on our router. The first aim is the authentication, and the meaning is to talk about the identity. जैसे कि आप किसी बैंक में जाते हैं और वहां पर अगर आपको पैसे निकलवाने होते हैं, तो सबसे पहले the bank officer is always ask you, hey, please show me your identity. कि आपका नाम क्या है, what is your identity, आपका driving license or whatever it is, मुझे दिखाइए. The second aim is the authorization. The authorization means, does this particular user have the permission to do this task or to perform these changes on the router? The same way, जैसे कि आप बैंक में जाते हैं तो वो आपसे पूछते हैं, are you the authorized person to take out the money? Because then they will cross check it with their database कि कौन कौन से joint account है, whatever it is, it's their own process and I'm not talking about that part. लेकिन जैसे वो चेक करते हैं उनको वेरीफाई होता है कि हाँ दिस गाय इज द ऑथोराइज पर्सन, then they just take out, they give you the money, whatever, how much you want, whatever the process is there. The last A is called accounting. The same way, accounting means it will track records, all kind of like people who is connected with the router, who was connected with the router, how much time he was connected, the session was expired, or the user was successfully authenticated or authorized. These all sort of kind of thing will be managed by A. Same in the bank, वहां पर भी यही प्रोसीजर होता है. जैसे कि आप पैसे निकलवा लेते हो तो दे हैव टू मेंटेन द क्रेडिटेड मींस क्रेडिटेड that portion or the debit portion, how much money you have to take out in a month, and sort of related thing. So guys, the same way you have to deal with this AAA in your router as well, and let's start to implement AAA because काफी टाइम हो गया है थ्योरी के बारे में बात करते हुए. So for that, I want to show you first, I am using the same infrastructure, same configuration, nothing is changed here. Now, before to start, I just want to remind you कि मैंने यहाँ पर दो user बनाए थे. First user is username admin. Second is username user1. मैंने admin को privilege level 15 का permission दिया था और user1 को मैंने privilege number 4 का दिया था. And both को मैंने secret password दिया था, which is now you can see is in the encrypted form. So guys, the first thing you have to go to the global configuration mode because the command is available here. If you type question mark, you can find some of the command related to AAA. As you can see, the very first command is available here, AAA. You just need to type. If you type question mark, तो यहाँ पर सिर्फ आपको एक command दिखेगी, new model, nothing else. So if you type new model and press enter, done. Now guys, try to type the same command AAA with question mark again because यहाँ पर आपको एक बिल्कुल नया प्लेटफॉर्म दिखेगा सिक्योरिटी का जो आप कॉन्फ़िगर कर सकते हैं अपने राउटर पे. If you type question mark, wow, so many commands. So the same way you can authorize, you can authenticate the particular user, you can configure your groups and all that. You can even give the IP address or the configuration for any of the external server who is taking care of the user management. But as you know, in this video, we are only going to talk about the local database of the router. So let's start with the very first A, that is authentication. So I'm going to configure the first one, the AAA authentication, and I'm going to use the login method right now, default. I will discuss with you what is that meaning, but I just type default. Guys, इस कमांड का मतलब क्या है? मतलब यह है कि अगर कोई यूजर लॉगिन करता है तो उसकी ऑथेंटिकेशन चेक हो, मींस जो भी लॉगिन करता है with the based on default, because default means it will be applicable on console port, it will be applicable on VTY port, and it will also be applicable on AUX port. तो automatically once you type default, वो तीनों के तीनों जो भी possible ways हैं access करने के लिए आपके राउटर पे वो automatically apply हो जाएगा. And what is the meaning of local here? Local means you are going to tell this particular router key if you want to check based on AAA authentication, please check your local database. तो हम यहाँ पर ये कहने की कोशिश कर रहे हैं. Guys, not only that, मैं आपको एक और चीज just बताना चाहता हूँ for your information, the AAA method is working in the list. मतलब ये है कि जैसे कि आप कोई कमांड अप्लाई करते हैं, टेक एन एग्जांपल, मैं ये बोलता हूं कि hey, first check AAA. अगर आपको AAA नहीं मिलता then check this group. अगर आपको ये ग्रुप नहीं मिलता then check the local database. और अगर आपको local database नहीं मिलता तो then check this particular user. I hope you get my meaning. So it will check one by one all the stuff. अगर पहली बारी में वो आपका ऑप्शन ब्रेक हो जाता है then it will not ask the further options. So that is a method or that is a way that AAA works generally on the router. So this is our first command. I just log in, press enter, done. So guys, I just want to tell you here कि जैसे कि आपने अप्लाई किया, how you can check that this won't work properly. Please do not go outside or do not log out your router right now, because in generally I just want to check here. Let me go back, or you can just type telnet, because अगर आप बाहर चले गए तो वहां पर authorization अभी हमने कॉन्फ़िगर नहीं की है. So maybe you will get some errors कि you are not about to log in again. फिर आपको वो log in करने में प्रॉब्लम होगा and you will directly आपका session lock हो जाएगा and you are not about to log in on the router again. You have to restart, then you have to do it. So that this kind of problem I don't want. So better you do one thing. If you want to test it properly, you just type do space telnet or just telnet and the IP address, because we are in privileged mode, so type telnet only. Press enter. The first he will ask the username, and the username I'm going to type admin, and after that I'm going to type the password of the admin, which is 123, I mean Cisco 123, and we are inside the router. Now this is fine, that's great, but let me go back to exit. Okay, now let me try to show you what are the command I just used, because as you can see, after applying your authentication, everything is going proper. It is communicating with the local database where we have created admin account. तो सब कुछ ठीक ही चल रहा है. But if you want to see more about this, you just need to type show and then include AAA, because मैं check करना चाहता हूँ कि कौन कौन सी command मैंने अभी apply की है. So once you type, press enter, it will show us that just you recently typed these commands, and it will be common for you right now. I hope you get the meaning for authentication. Now let's move to the next command, which is called authorization. Now we have to go kind of authorization. Auto. I tell you, I really certainly need to practice on the Cisco routers, because it's that means the type, because anyhow I'm working on my laptop, and I'm not in certainly not used to configure everything from my router. I have my own certain different keyboard I just used to do that, and you know that the Cisco people always type to do very fast, so I don't want to hurt my laptop. That's why. So whenever you type exit mode ki kaun si authorization deni hai, to I want to give authorization for default purpose, and just type local. When you press enter, yes, it is applied on the base of local, and it is applied on the exec mode. The exec mode means the privilege mode. And for that also, please check what kind of privilege mode you applied on the user who is going to log in. And then for that, you please check the local database. But guys, for your information, key, if you applied this, it will only applicable for VTY port and auxiliary port. It will not at all applicable for console port by default. So if you want to do that, you have to type one more command, which is called authorization for console, because here we are applying forcefully the console port, means with this particular authorization right now as well. So we just enable. Now we do one thing. Let's try to test it. If you want to test it, I'm going to enable the both authentication, and I'm going to enable for the authorization as well. Authorization. मैंने यहाँ पर debug के option enable कर दिया, means whatever trying to connect or access with this router, it will show us कि सब कुछ ठीक तो चल रहा है, the authorization is successfully working or not, because else you will lock out your user account. So that's why I'm trying to use it here with the same username 10.0.0.1. But when I press enter, you will see some of the changes here, because our debug option is on for both AAA authentication and authorization. So यहाँ press enter करेंगे, then automatically you can see now it will show us that somebody is trying to log in with the AAA with this authentication username, and my username is admin. So when you type admin and just press enter, it will ask us the username, or sorry, the password. Then type password, and when you press password, you will see some of the information about AAA regarding authorization. Press enter, we are inside, and yes, wow, we are successfully authorized. And as you can see the message that we are authorized to access it, and yes, this will also recognize that what kind of privilege level we have. That means इस यूजर को कौन से privilege level की permission है, वो भी यहाँ पर ये check कर रहा है. So isn't it good? It's really nice thing to check it, and you can just find out. You want to play around, you can check it. So that's what it is. Just to check it better, let me do one thing. Let me first disable my debug all, I mean undebug all. So ये हमारे सारे ऑफ कर देगा जो भी debugging mode मैंने ऑन किया है. Now this is default as you can see, because let me show you one more time कि मैं क्या कहना चाह रहा हूं यहां पर कि मैंने अभी अभी आपके सामने जो include, let me type AAA, क्योंकि मैं आपको दिखाना चाह रहा हूं यहां पर जो मैंने कमांड चलाई है वो चलाई है सिर्फ for the local database, that is fine, but only for default. लेकिन अगर आपको यहां पर कस्टम लेवल पे आपको ऑथेंटिकेशन मेथड अगर आपको क्रिएट करना पड़े, देन हाउ यू कैन डू इट and what are the ways and how and what are the procedure you can say to check it out. So guys, for that you need to go back to the same place and type authentication, sorry, type authentication, then yahan par aapko type karna hai login with the same command, but here you have to type for console authentication. मैं just type कर रहा हूं console AUTHEN because ये मेरा नाम हो जाएगा. then group, तो ग्रुप का मतलब क्या है कि कौन कौन से यहाँ पर ग्रुप अवेलेबल है, मतलब अगर आपका डेटाबेस या फिर जो भी कनेक्टिविटी अगर आपके रेडियस सर्वर से चल रही है, जैसे कि आपका एक्टिव डायरेक्टरी अवेलेबल है तो आप यहाँ पर यूज कर सकते हैं, या फिर सिस्को का प्रोप्राइटरी टूल अगर आपने कॉन्फ़िगर किया हुआ है, हम करेंगे इन द फ्यूचर, बट अगर किया हुआ है तो यू कैन यूज इट. एंड आई नो दैट मैंने ये कॉन्फ़िगर नहीं किया है, बट स्टिल आई जस्ट वांट टू यूज इट बिकॉज अगर ये फेल हो जाता है देन प्लीज डू वन थिंग. इफ यू फेल दिस वन you just need to go to the enable part, means automatically वो enable part में आ जाए अगर ये fail होता है तो that's what it is. तो मैं just trying to show you कि कैसे काम करता है. enable mode का मतलब ये है कि जो हम generally enable command type करते हैं तो ये automatically उस mode में आ जाएगा अगर TACS plus fail हो जाता है authenticate करने में उसके साथ. and उसके साथ साथ you can also have to configure the authorization. ऑथराइजेशन में आपको यहाँ पर एग्जैक्ट जो है वो आपको करना है. देन ऑफ कोर्स द कंसोल AUTHEN बिकॉज आपको सेम टाइप करना है. एंड ऑफ कोर्स नन, मैं यहाँ पर कोई भी ऑथराइजेशन को स्पेशली मेंशन नहीं कर रहा हूँ फॉर दिस प्रिविलेज मोड. फाइन, बट it is not applied yet by default. Why? Because by default, as you can see, we just created a custom group, or you can say the custom name to configure this. So if you want to apply, so you have to go to the console port and then you have to type login. login के बाद authentication, उसके बाद आपको यहाँ पर पूरा नाम लिखना है जो भी आपने recently authentication बनाई है. authentication done. Then you can also authorization, I mean authorization. तो यहाँ पर ऑथराइजेशन में एग्जैक्ट मोड में रहेगा और यहाँ पर भी आपको वही डालना है जो भी आपने नाम दिया था ऑथराइजेशन के ऑप्शन में. AUTHEN, applied, done. So this is the way, and you can also check it if you want to see show, run, include AAA. तो यहाँ पर आप क्या देखेंगे कि यहाँ पर आप अभी आप देख सकते हैं कि you just recently applied. Now what is the difference between default and this custom? So let me tell you guys, if you type default, that will be applicable for all the three options, console, AUX and VTY, जो मैंने अभी recently बताया. लेकिन अगर आप custom created, अगर आप जैसे अभी आपने recently एक authentication method बनाया, अगर आप ये use करते हैं, then you have to apply separately on the specific process or the interface where you want to apply, or you can say the line console mode or any other mode you want to apply. तो इसका मतलब सिर्फ इतना ही है. Now guys, stick together with me because we just recently done the basics of AAA. Now in this video, I am also going to share with you some of the tips and the tricks so that you can make your network even much better, even more secure. In the end, I also want to discuss with you some of the important tricks. Just now I'm trying to tell you that I'm going to share with you. So guys, when you're working in the organization, the very first thing you always have to take care of the passwords, not only the console passwords, not only the line VTY passwords, even whenever you create the users, you have to apply the passwords to them. And the very first thing you have to think about it, that what is the length of your password should be in your organization. मतलब कितने character का password आप apply करेंगे. So guys, for that reason, the router iOS provide you one of the command, or you can say a small tool that will enable the minimum length of your password, so that from the next time you will talk to your administrators or anybody else who is trying to make changes on the router, तो आप उन्हें कह सकते हैं कि hey, if you want to create the username for yourself, better you should apply the password minimum with this length, because I have implemented this security on my router. So let's jump into my topology first, as I have already the same one. So let me start the router. Let me go back. Let me clear this all. Yeah. Then go to the global configuration mode, and here you have to type the very first command is security passwords, and इसके अंदर आप mention कर सकते हैं कि minimum length. So just like I'm going to give the minimum length as 8. And guys, this is a small thing I'm going to share with you now, but it is really very important whenever you are trying to implement security in your organization. So press enter. The security is applied. Now whenever you are trying to create the password for your user or anything else, your password should be at least 8 characters here. Now that is fine. You just create a password. आपने 8 कैरेक्टर का पासवर्ड भी बना दिया. Okay, वो MD5 से encrypted भी है. That's really fine. But guys, again, we have a very big issue nowadays in real scenario is the brute force attack. The people are extremely, you can say the script kid is extremely means, I'm just trying to say that people are really wanted to do this unauthorized things, especially in the organization. They're just trying to check their skills. तो हम जैसे एडमिनिस्ट्रेटर्स को बहुत प्रॉब्लम आती है ये कि वो अगर वो ब्रूट फोर्स अटैक लगा के चले जाते हैं, एंड वंस दे कम बैक दे फाइंड आउट ओह द पासवर्ड इज क्रैक्ड एंड ऑल दैट. सो इट्स रियली अ big issue in the organization. But if you just recently configured AAA on your router, the AAA allows you to protect from these kind of attacks. How? Just type the command AAA, then space local, then authentication. In the authentication, you need to type attempts. मतलब वो कितनी बार attempt try करे ताकि वो fail हो जाए. Like for an example, before to implement this command, मैं यहाँ पर एक बार रोकूंगा. Let me go back to my Windows XP and let me try to connect with the Telnet, and then I will show you that how this thing work. But before that, let me show you my IP address, IP config. तो यहाँ पर मेरा IP एड्रेस है 10.0.0.2 and default gateway is 10.0.0.1, which is my router interface IP address. Let me check, is it working or not? Yeah, it is successfully working. That's great for us. Now let me clear this screen, and यहाँ पर मैं आपके सामने show करता हूँ Telnet का. Now take an example, you got the connection with the Telnet, and by any way उसके पास यूजर नेम भी है और पासवर्ड भी है. नाउ टेक एन एग्जांपल, सॉरी पासवर्ड नहीं है, ही जस्ट नो द यूजर नेम. तो लेट ही इज ऑलवेज ट्राइंग टू लॉग इन विद एडमिन, देन टाइप ऑथेंटिकेशन फेल. अगेन उसने टाइप किया, प्रेस एंटर अगेन, ऑथेंटिकेशन फेल. सो विद द सेम वे गाइस, उसने एक स्क्रिप्ट लगा दी है विच इज लाइक the size of the password जो भी एक फाइल रहती है वो जीबीज में है, and he's keep trying to crack the password. उसको नहीं मिल रहा है, but वो try करते जा रहा है. तो वो brute force attack, it will be kind of a kind of monster on your network, you can say that. So how you can stop this? By using this command, AAA local authentication attempts max fail 3. That means if somebody is trying to access and somebody's typed to 3 wrong passwords, then automatically the account will be locked. So how you can check it and how you can verify कि वो हो गया है नहीं, when you press enter. Now let's try, let me Telnet on the same router ताकि मैं आपको दिखा सकूं अच्छे से. Now press enter. Okay, मैंने यहाँ पर टाइप किया, press enter, and then I type wrong password, enter, failed. Yes, great. Then again मैंने टाइप किया, sorry, admin, and then again I type the wrong password, again failed. Yes, and the third time I also type the same, press enter, and यहाँ पर automatically यहाँ पर आपका connection close हो गया. If you want to check, or better do one thing, let me try to do with the another user. मैं user 1 because इसको full privilege है, तो let me try with the user 1, and इसका मैं user type wrong करता हूँ, and हुआ okay. Again user 1, then enter, again then user 1, again मैंने गलत टाइप किया, and this time yeah, finally we got this. So as you can see guys, जैसे ही user जो admin नहीं है because he have the complete privilege, but by any reason he just got to know any other user and वह करने की कोशिश करता है, then he will get this message after exact 3 attempts, because मैंने वही mention किया था, then user 1 will be locked out on authentication failure. So that is really one of the great thing you can check. And you can, if you want to see that how many users are locked out, you just need to type do show, because we are in global configuration mode. That's why I'm using do command here. So just type do show AAA local user lockout. Lockout, I have to type complete, I guess. Okay, so as you can see, यहाँ पर मेरा user 1 available है and it is locked out at this particular time. So you can check it out. And not only that, if you want to remove these all things कि ठीक है वो locked out हो गया, now I want to give permission back because this user is speaking, hey, my user name is locked, please enable it, or something like that. So how you can do it, you just need to type clear AAA local user lockout all, because ये automatically सारे जितने भी users हैं वो clear कर देगा यहाँ से. If you're trying to see again, you will not find any information into the database. So that's what it is. But now this is one of the user which is available inside the network. Now how about the user who is trying to access from outside location? Now what will happen on that? And you know that the DDoS attacks is one of the very common attack in any of the organization. Now how you can protect your router from it? So for that, guys, the command is very simple. The command is login block 4. I will explain you कि इसका मतलब क्या है. block 4 attempts, कितने attempts होंगे within 60. इसका मतलब ये है कि अगर कोई लॉगिन करने की कोशिश करता है, ये it is specially for DDoS attack, करने की कोशिश करता है and he will attempt 10 time, और वो 10 time wrong information टाइप करता है within 60 सेकेंड, तो ऑटोमेटिकली उसका जो यूजर नेम जो जिसके ऊपर भी वो ट्राई कर रहा है वो पर्टिकुलर सेशन 300 सेकेंड के लिए टाइम आउट हो जाएगा. So now just imagine if the person had the billions or like trillions of the passwords in their dictionary or any kind of file, तो guys उसको not small but not much, according to me almost उसको लग जाएंगे 50 से 60 साल उसको करते हुए. I guess इतना पेशेंस किसी में नहीं है कि वो 50-60 साल लगाएगा किसी चीज को ब्लॉक करने के लिए. So this command really help you out in that, because I recently applied on my router and everything is going great right now. Now guys, this is we just talk about one of the very common attacks like brute force, and मैंने DDoS attack के बारे में बात किया. But now let's talk about, is it really your router is working securely? Because अभी आने वाले time में we are going to configure ASDM, we are going to configure SDM, that is security device manager, और हम CCP, that is Cisco configuration, हमारे जो प्रोफेशनल है उसको भी हम कॉन्फ़िगर करेंगे. एंड वी वांट ऑल दिस कम्युनिकेशन सिक्योरली. सो बाय डिफॉल्ट आई वांट टू टेल यू योर HTTP is working on the router. Now you have to enable the HTTPS first, and the second thing, disable the Telnet, as you know that it is not at all secure by default. So we need to enable SSH for that. Now how you can do that? The first thing, if you want to do it, always change your host name for that. Now let me change my host name from management router to R1. Then the second step, you have to type the IP domain name. This is the command. Then you can type ecolab.com or any name you like. Just press enter, because इसके domain name के base पे वो एक certificate generate करेगा. Then we are trying to generate crypto key. That is definitely a private key. Oh, sorry, not private. I just speak private, though I'm writing. Generate, then RSA. RSA के बाद then modules, क्योंकि वो size कितना आपको लेना है. Oh, not available. Oh, general keys. Okay, general keys, then modules. Great, general key modules. Then कितना करना है? I'm just trying to use minimum. Oh, it's so much. 1024. Done. और वो यहाँ पर okay कर लिया. That is enabled. That's great. And not only that, it will also enable the SSH version 1.99. Now SSH 1.99 means ये SSH 1 वर्जन के साथ भी और SSH 2 वर्जन के साथ भी compatible है, तो ये बहुत तरीके से काम करेगा. Not only that, you need to go to the line VTY 0/4 and यहाँ पर आपको टाइप करना है transport input SSH because you have to enable it. And if you want more, even much better, then you can type IP SSH version 2 because it will enable SSH version 2 on the router. Now if you want to test that SSH is working properly or not, so just you need to go back to your PC as we are here, and यहाँ पर आपको क्या करना है, you just need to, let me clear this, we are easily able to ping, we know that. So I just download one application from internet called Putty, and it allows us, I'm going to run, it allows us to run SSH, and SSH I'm going to use here version 2. That's great. तो यहाँ पर मैं सेशन में IP डालूंगा 10.0.0.1, and जैसे ही मैं यहाँ पर ओपन करूंगा, it will connect it, it will show me one kind of thumbnail, you can say the fingerprint, because जो भी हमने 1024 की एक प्राइवेट की जनरेट की थी उसके thumbnail है. So just press yes to accept this, and then it will ask us the username. Our username is admin, and the password is Cisco123, and yes, we are inside. You can see now we can make changes, but make sure you give the password properly, and you can also check show SSH session, which is input and output, means so one connection for in, one connection for out. So you can find out this one, and you can see right now which version we are using. We are connected with version number 2. So guys, that to be all about this video. In this video, we just learned that how you can make secure your management plan with the local database, in which we just learned how to enable the secret with correct possible ways. Then we enable the usernames, and we use some of the privilege mode or privilege levels. Then we lock down access method. That means in this we just use the brute force, how you can protect your router from it. DDoS कैसे आप उसके साथ protect करेंगे, and उसके साथ साथ आपने AAA के भी basic सीखे, that how you can create the AAA model, how exactly it works. In the future video, we will talk about in detail about these all the methods and all the options. And that to be all for right now. If you have any query, any question, you can send me the email on harshadmin@gmail.com, or you can write down your comment on YouTube box. So thank you so much for watching. Thank you so much guys. Stay connected, stay tuned, because more to come.